My Gary Fisher Ferris build is always in need of upgrade and change. Well, why not? And I got thinking, an idea popped in my head. Gravel suspension forks. Welcome back to Downhill Smooth Tarmac. I'm Jeff and this is your YouTube home for all things cycling, particularly with a quirky twist, if you like that kind of thing, and if you like saving the pennies. Behind me is my Gary Fisher Ferris build, a frame that was kindly given to me by a viewer called Simon, and my brief was just to make something quirky with it, and I did just that. If you haven't seen the build videos, I turned it into a drop bar adventure bike with a 650B wheel conversion, lots of racks, and that all-important review of the Redshift top shelf bar. I got that in a 53cm, it's super wide and it's still on there. But I'm not one to sit still with my builds, otherwise I just end up with lots and lots of bikes to ride and never tweak or change them or make them better. So I started to think about gravel bikes and suspension forks. You see them more and more. You know, the RockShox Rudy in particular, you're seeing that out there. And I started thinking, well, for those of us on a tight budget, could we make a short travel fork? Something that would just take the sting out of the trail without spending too much dosh. We've gone and done it. Okay, so my idea started as a conversation with good old Martin. I started having a chat with him saying, do you know what, wouldn't it be amazing if we could take the kind of fork that you buy off Facebook for a few quid and shorten up the travel and make it something that would fit onto a gravel build? And this is what we came up with. We took a Suntour XCT30. These are very, very cheap. They're basic coil forks. They're quite heavy, but as you can see here, this one is rocking a lot less travel than the standard version of it. It should have about 80 to 100 mil of travel. I kind of had an idea in my head how I might work this out, but Martin is a clever bloke, and rather than me try and talk you through what we did, he took the project and ran with it. So Martin, do you want to just explain it to him? Here we go. Martin.
So this is Jeff's mightily bodged forks. What he came to me and said is, I want to turn these forks into gravel forks, meaning he wants to reduce the axle to crown height and just make these much more rideable for gravel, so reduced travel and things as well. So what I've done, I had lots of options to shorten them. We could have reduced the length of the plunger inside, we could have shortened the spring, but all of that would have resulted in the travel still being the same length or the spring effectively being weaker. So what we've done is we've increased the length of the top out bumper basically, and instead of it being like a 20mm rubber bumper, we've put in a 60mm spring, and that has brought the length right down, but it's also stiffened the fork up a little bit because it's further up the travel effectively. So it's best of both worlds. He's got a stiffer fork, what he wants for gravel, and he's got shorter axle to crown and a shorter travel. What we also did was reduced the length of the spacer in the bottom so that they go all the way up to the crown of the travel as well. So overall, fully bodged, but it answers what he wants. And it turns a shit fork into a shit gravel fork. Win.
So there we go. Thank you, Martin, for explaining how we achieved what we did with the forks. Now all that's left to do is get out and ride it and see if these forks are actually any good or whether that extra weight really isn't worth it. Oh, and as well as the test ride today, I'm throwing you guys another cheeky GPX route because we're going on a 30-odd mile route based around the village of Ticknall in South Derbyshire, and I think you guys are going to love this because I've tried to make it as lumpy as possible. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Lots of rocks, lots of routes, lots of stuff we can play about on to make sure that these forks are actually worth lugging around. Oh yes. Okay, so a little bit about today's ride as well as the bike. Just look at that. Beautifully autumnal this morning, and we are Going to be riding a route I've created using trails we already know, and it's going to henceforth be known as the Tasty Ticknall, because I have tried to get as many of our hills in as possible just to get some more lumpy training in. So we're going to be doing about 30 miles, mostly off-road on bridleways. We've had a ton of rain and I'm riding a bike with a heavy basic fork that me and Martin have turned into a short travel graveller. What could possibly go wrong? So as usual, I will include a GPX for you lovely people if you want to do this route. There's a couple of places you can start from. One would be car park in Woodville. The other would be Hicks Lodge, of course, and then do the trails over. This way round, I've made it quite lumpy with some good climbs to be had. Okay, and the other aim of this ride, of course, other than to give you a great route to try for yourselves, is to try my modifications to the Gary Fisher Ferris build. So I've made a couple. One being the racks have gone. We have ditched the racks. That's not a big deal. But the big deal is the forks. And I'm unsure as to how well these are going to work. The method is sound. It'll all be down to the testing. And this is the perfect route for that kind of thing. So our next stop is the village of Milton. We've now got a nice bit of loose single track trail to start testing out the forks. So initial thoughts, as expected, there's not really any small bump sensitivity, but this is a very, very basic fork anyway. Oh, it's sketchy. It's slimy. I can't get my foot out. There we go. So yeah, initial impressions, interesting. Very sketch. Oh, that's my wheels. Sorry. Initial thoughts, interesting. If we start pummeling the bumps, it's definitely taking something out. It's too soon to tell quite how much. But initial impressions are very good. I'll tell you another initial impression is I've got too much air in my tyres for this kind of slippery shit. Oh yes, so now we've got ourselves a little test. Here we go, right. We've got some rocky, rooty sections here we can play with. So let's give that a bit of a try. So we normally climb up this. Oh, there we go. Right, that's interesting. So over those rocks there, roots rather, that is very good. That's definitely taking the sting out. Yes, oh, I'm quite impressed with that. Yeah, it's firm, but it's taking the buzz out. This next section should have a little bit of rocky rootiness for us as well. Wow, the seasons are changing, folks. We're into that slimy autumn period now. Okay, so this is quite loose and rocky down here. So this should give us a chance to wake these forks up. So yeah, okay, here we go. Can actually hear the springs clanging. So that is interesting. Yeah, it's taking the bumps out, it's working. Can actually hear the springs squeaking. That's nice. Yeah. Oh man. That's quite good. Not bad at all. There they are, that little short travel fork. You can see where it's been working. I mean, it's basic, but you can pick these forks up for pennies and do this yourself. Theory needs more tests, but so far so good. Ooh, next bit of the Tasty Ticknall. Going to climb up one we normally come down. which we know locally is going up violets. It's a mixed, steady incline. Okay, another descent. We've earned some gravity, so let's go enjoy it. Great descent or a great climb now. Now I'm into climbs. Beautiful. Yeah. Fork is just doing its job. Just taking out the small one. Yeah, it's working. It's working. Tell you what, the last time I rode anything with a basic fork would have been back in the day when I had a set of Suntours with a coil on the outside of the stanchion on me, specialised hard rock. My God, how things have changed. Oh dear. Oh dear. Like John's lost his bottle cage. Finders keepers, John. This is mine. Right. That's going to slow my ride down now. So, just inherited myself a bottle with a restrap bottle cage. Restrap. Whose could this be? None other than JC. So this descent takes you past a place called Repton Shrubs. And it's a great descent, but it has now got a cheeky little tip-up climb. Like I say, I've added as much lump into this ride as I possibly can. I have something that is yours. Okay, so this next bit of the trail isn't strictly legit. I think it's probably footpath. If you don't want to use it, don't use it. Go around on the road. I'm using it to test out my fork because a rutted field like this is the perfect companion for this fork. And my God, is it doing the job. Look at that, yeah! Got some squish, no rattling, really good. Really, really good. What a bike. As you can see, it's not moving a lot. The way it feels for me is it's working. It's just taking the edge off. Cool, eh? I'm chopping this. Okay. Next bit of bridleway you come to. From Foremark down to Ingleby. It's clearly not used very much. So you've got to forge it. Ooh. Okay, so I tried. Nobody's riding up this.
Me in the bike corner.
Hot.
I always wondered about this rider.
Yeah. Right, and the appearance of sand on the trail tells us we're going to be touching into Robin Wood for the first time. So, if you aren't local to South Derbyshire, Robin Wood is a beautiful woodland on the edge of Ticknall, and it is laced with great trails. And this is the first time on the ride we're going to touch Robin Wood, and it's with a climb that everybody dreads. Yes, my cleats are knackered. Ugh. Just couldn't get my foot out, I slipped. Because my cleats are fucked, couldn't get out. So, I struggle to get it going now. That's annoying. What's your thoughts on the gravel suspension fork I've made so far? Why not drop a comment below and let me know what you think? You know my feelings so far. I think Trail Jeff's telling you all you need to know, that these things are actually turning out to be surprisingly good. But also, the route, you enjoying it? Is it something that you're going to give a go? Let me know. And if you are enjoying the content, do us a favour, like and subscribe. In fact, like, comment and subscribe. 3 things help this channel to grow. So after that climb and tumble, it's time to head for Stanton by Bridge next, and then on to Melbourne for our coffee break. Right, next bit of trail, Stanton by Bridge to Melbourne. This is Ward's Lane. It's a restricted byway, so it's a right-of-way basically. It's better at this time of year than the summer because it's quite sandy, and it's also stinging nettle hell or heaven, depending on your preference really. But it's a nice flowy bit back this way, and it's the last bit of bridle way before the calf. So for the cafe, we're going to be stopping at Staunton Reservoir. There's a National Trust cafe there, which will do everything we need it to do. Get a little bit of food inside us and a coffee. And when we get there, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about my homemade gravel fork. Now we're at the cafe, let's talk. Oh, here's John, look. Hi, John. Look at that, he just crushed my shot straight through. This is what I have to put up with. This is unprofessional behaviour. Shut up. Okay, so we got to the cafe, and now we need to talk a little bit less about the route and a bit about the Suntour XCT30 fork. That, technically... Yeah, it absolutely will put me off. Why would you be like that, Dave?
Simon's not here.
Because Simon's not here. Oh dear, right, let's talk about it. Come on. The Suntour XCT30 fork. Now, at the start of the video, when Martin introduced what he'd done, he referred to this fork as a bodge. Very much so, from a shit fork into a shit gravel fork. Surprisingly good so far. We've wrapped up about 20 miles of mixed terrain, most of it off-road. And yeah, so far, this is turning out to be quite surprising. I only put it on as an experiment, and actually, I think I might leave it on. It's actually making me want to change a few of the bits of the geometry of the bike to tie in with it, but it is superb for what it is. So, we've got a couple of inches of travel. No, we haven't. We've got about an inch and a bit of travel, if you look at where the stanchion marks are. We've got a little bit of small bump sensitivity, but not a lot. But the main tell is in how I feel at the end of this ride so far, and that is that I don't feel shaken like I normally do. With the old fork on the Gary Fisher being aluminium, it was a real bone shaker. Now, I've got this situation where that is doing a fine job. If I can only find a way to mount a rack on it, which I'm working on, it's a winner. I think we've stumbled from bodge into piece of budget genius. Okay, so after the calf, we led up Broadstone Lane. We'll go across the res and then up Broadstone Lane. We're going to head back toward Robin Wood for our second taster. Coming back towards Robin Wood now. I'm going to flow through and head towards the National Forest Showground and be the next port of call. Oh, I love a bit of Robin Wood. I'll throw as much Robin Wood as I can into a ride around here because this is where my mountain biking and off-road cycling journey began, and for good reason. It's beautiful, there's some lovely trails, there's some naughty trails that you're not supposed to ride but people do, and you can just flip in and out on a loop, and that's what I'm starting to introduce now with some of my off-road rides for these guys and for you guys back home as well. Alright, so this is going to be the last piece of trail you get on this Ticknall route, unless you want to go back towards Foremark and go back over there. Obviously, for those of you that might have started from Hicks, you'll have a bit more trail. But for those of you that parked up in Woodville, this is where the dirt's going to end for you. We're going to go back on the road. Okay, so there we go. A little bit of an abrupt end to the ride video there because it absolutely started throwing down the rain. Cameras actually had to go away so we could make the dash for home. Never mind any of that. The fork, any good or not? For me, yes, absolutely blown away. I was expecting it to be all right. As it turns out, it's better than all right. It's actually, as I said in the video before, Martin, he called it a bodge. Totally bodged it. Shit gravel fork, all that stuff. It's not. We've actually done a thing. We've done a really cool thing. We've got a fork that works. Yes, there's no real small bump sensitivity left in there, but I wouldn't have expected it when it was new, to be honest. When it was a new standard fork, I would expect very little from it. It's a coil with a little bit of preload adjustment. That's it. We're not talking about a fancy fork here. I wanted to show you what we could do with something that you pick up for a few quid off Facebook Marketplace. Or you might have lying around because you've upgraded it on a mountain bike that you already own. Yeah, worth it. And so far, so good. If you want to see how we did it, comment below. If I get enough comments, I'll do a video. I'll strip it down and I'll show you exactly how we created the loss of the travel and how we actually firmed everything up. Can do that, not a problem at all. But overall, yes, I actually like the fact that it's slightly corrected the geometry on the bike as well. Over the standard fork that I had before with the rack mounts, it's actually corrected that a little bit. And the geometries are just a little bit better. But you saw me throwing it down the trails there, it was fine. Climbing, really good. It was not lifting too much at the front or anything like that. So yeah, job well done. Okay, so with that, I don't think there's anything else left to say than to sign off and say, hope your next ride is downhill smooth tarmac. Keep your wheels spinning, keep your rubber on the road and your knobblies out on the trail. Be safe out there, especially with winter on the way. Look out for one another. Good human being first, even better cyclist second. If you get a minute, please like, comment and subscribe to help the channel to grow. But don't let any of that get in the way of you getting out and riding your bike. Until next time, it's been downhill smooth tarmac.